I'm here to say one more thing.
Oh, goody.
I just had to drag my AC out of my car to my apartment building. 3 guys passed me. None of them offered to help.
Why should they? Women are strong and independent. They can do everything on their own.
None. 0 out of 3. Why? 'Cause you couldn't lift it? You were too scared to lift it? Is that why? Am I intimidating? Am I more masculine than you?
No, that's not what it is at all. But let's take a moment to think about how many women, thousands upon thousands of women, are saying every single day that in fact they don't need men. They don't need them at all. In fact, they're saying sometimes that the world would be better off without men. But apparently, some women still need men for grunt work. I should think that they would be grateful that men are finally listening to their wishes, ideas, and their feelings. But apparently not when it comes to lifting heavy objects.
Let me tell you what happened to me. I stopped at Walmart on Monday after work to get dog food, and on my way out to my car, I saw a lady with a few bags of pool salt and potting soil in a cart looking like she was struggling to lift them up to the back of her truck, and I said, "Excuse me, ma'am, but do you need some help?" And she turned and told me to mind my own business, so I left her to it. So, back to the video. I don't think it is only that, but some guys would be worried that if they did help and carried it to her apartment, she would falsely accuse them of doing something they didn't do. Men don't offer to help women anymore, because most of the time we don't know when we offer to help, if it's going to be taken in some way that we are saying that they can't do it on their own, or that we are creeping on them. Look at how upset she is at strangers that are just living their lives. Those people probably don't even remember seeing her that day. If you start talking about men's experiences when they open or hold the door for women, you will shed tears because most of the time, they don't even say thank you to you. So, men don't even help with a door, and I don't even think it is definitely not an AC. In all honesty, women told men that they don't need them, that they can handle themselves, but complain when men don't help them. They said bears are more reliable than men, so I think she would have gone to the woods and find herself a bear to help her.
So this woman unfortunately is stuck on the side of the highway with a flat tire during a thunderstorm. But listen to what she had to say about men because of the situation that she was in.
1 said, "I'm not a tire shop." 2 said, "It's raining too hard." 3 didn't answer. 1 guy asked if I was okay. 1 guy.
Before I let her finish, the first issue I'm seeing here is, why do you have so many different men's phone number that you're calling? You should be looking for quality over quantity. You should have one good man that cares about you, where when you're in a situation like this, they will drop everything they're doing and come and help you. But instead, you have 4 or 5 different guys that you're calling, and yet not one of those men care about you enough to come help you. But I'll let you continue.
1 guy asked if someone's coming to help me. 1 person showed basic empathy. Make them lonelier.
And there it is, make them lonelier. So because of the situation that you are dealing with, you now want all men to be lonely. And the funny thing is, you yourself are entertaining 4 different men. So that in itself makes no sense. Here's my advice to you. Try to find one man that cares about you and stop talking to multiple men at the same time.
She started the video with, "It hurt my ego," and that says it all. Why would a random man risk his life changing a tire in a thunderstorm for someone who has all these men in her phone? Why didn't she call other women or roadside assistants? This is the same woman that probably tells everyone she don't need a man. In this video, she admitted she called several men, but not her man, not a boyfriend, not a husband, just random guys she had in her phone, and not one of them came through. That alone says everything about her, because she treated them so poorly that not a single man feels even an ounce of sympathy to help her. Those men probably figured out they are being used. She maybe only calls when she needs something. She was expecting some boyfriend behavior from the men on her roster. That's not how it works, and those 4 guys proved it to her. Those men enforced the equal rights, strong, independent woman, and I don't need a man mantra. Women, this is why you all need to pick someone and stop having a roster because you won't get road service with men you are stringing along. Men are now learning their options. She values the roster, but the roster doesn't value her because dudes on rosters know it's not a relationship that will get serious. She isn't dating them, so why should they care? Treat people how you want to be treated. Most men are going to sacrifice for a good woman.
Do you know what I actually can't believe? Yesterday I was on the tube coming home and a drunk man got on the tube and he sat next to me originally and was chatting to some other people that had a dog. Oh my god, the bags under my eyes. And then they got off the tube and he was like looking at me and I was just ignoring him. I was just doing my own little thing. Then he moved and sat opposite me on the tube and then he was going, hello, hello. And I just looked at him and I was on my phone, but I looked at him and he was like, you okay? And I was like, yeah, I'm fine. And he was like, where are you from? You from Italy? And I was like, no. He was like, you from here? And I was like, no, because it was like London. I was like, no, somewhere else. He was like, oh, you're on holiday? I was like, no, just travelling. I was trying to be like just short and like get him to stop speaking to me. And then he was going like, oh, well, he had a beer in his hand and he kept spilling his beer everywhere. And I was just trying to ignore him. And he was like, are you married? And I was like, yeah, I'm married. Obviously not, but I was like, yeah, I'm married. He was like, oh, have you got children? I was like, no. He was like, oh, so you're single then? I was like, no, I'm married. And then he was like, how old are you? And I was like, oh, I'm 20. I was like, if I knock a few years off, maybe he'll leave me alone. As if that would make a difference. And he was like, oh, young. And I was like, yeah. And he was like, oh, okay. Then he just kept like mumbling like Italian words because he thought I was Italian. And I was just like, on my phone, like, and he just would not stop. He was just like, going, high five me, shake my hand, all this. And then he was like, oh, bye-bye, I'm getting off now. Then he stood up and he was just still looking at me, like just standing there. And then he didn't get off. He sat back down and he was like, oh, not getting off yet, actually. And I was like, oh, okay. While this is going on, there's a bunch of men around me that were English because they were speaking English like a minute ago before he got on. And they were all just ignoring it. They were all just like leaving him to just literally harass me. And then notice like the last stop of the train is where I was getting off. And that's obviously where he was getting off because it was the last stop. So he was like, oh, okay, I'm getting off now. Obviously, I hadn't realised it was the last stop. So I said, oh, bye. And I let him get off and I stayed on the tube for a bit just so that he could walk ahead. And, like, again, no one said anything to me apart from one girl took her headphones out and she went, are you okay? And I was like, yeah, I'm just, like, letting him walk ahead for a bit so, like, he doesn't speak to me anymore. And she was like, oh, I couldn't tell if he was bothering you or not. Like, I appreciate that the girl actually asked me if I was all right and everything, but, like, the men didn't do anything. Like, chivalry is dead, but also, you couldn't tell he was bothering me. He was quite clearly bothering me. And then as we got off, she was like, I'll walk with you for a bit, but, like, I'm not leaving the station. I'm getting on another train, so I can't come outside with you. And I was like, oh, that's fine. Like, and then as we were walking, the guy had stopped, and he, like, turned around and he saw me, and he was like, oh, you, Italy. And I was just ignoring him. And he was like, oi, are you ignoring me? Why are you ignoring me? And I was just like, I'm just going to keep ignoring him, just walking. He was going, oi. And then I was like, right, keys are in my hand right now. I had to walk to my car. And bear in mind, I had to get off at Ealing Broadway, which is like a scatty station, scatty area. So the route to my car was like literally a 2-minute walk. But because he was behind me, I didn't want him to follow me. So I actually went like a different route and started walking with a group of people so that I wasn't on my own, because the route to my car, I would have been walking on my own and it was dark. And then he wandered off somewhere else and I like literally like, not sprinted, but like speed walked to my car. But yeah, I was texting my mum as well at the time and I was like, why is nobody like helping me? They can quite clearly see that this man is bothering me. Why has no man stepped in to help? It really bothered me.
Do you expect a random man to risk his life to save a stranger? Unattractive man steps in to help, gets vilified and accused of being a creep. I can't believe no woman helped you. It's hard to know who wants to be interacted with these days. The feminists have almost driven chivalry out of the society. The men may have left it up to the bears to do the interaction. There are still decent people out there, But you can't rely on members of the public for anything nowadays, especially in big cities. You get verbally harassed. A man stepping in will likely get physically assaulted. If he had done something physical to you, and positive, men would have stepped in, but when it's only verbal, then it's not worth the risk for a stranger. Men aren't machines to protect you. They are their own human beings with their own hopes and fears. Stop objectifying men, and it will make more sense to you. He was annoying, but not a threat. Even the woman at the end said she couldn't tell if you were bothered or not. There was no need for anyone to intervene. He wasn't abusive or threatening. He was an annoying drunk man. You would have changed seats or stopped talking to him. No one would intervene where there's no threat. As men, we have learned that we are expendable to women by only needed to give women things or sacrifice ourselves. A lot of men recognize this and value themselves more than that. Unfortunately, everybody has to learn how to protect themselves. Next time, if you felt you were in danger, you should pull the emergency lever.
I just watched this guy stand with his hands on his hips, watching a woman struggle to lift and carry a kayak. He didn't even so much as flinch to offer any assistance, just stood there watching. And we wonder why women would rather just do life on their own.
This is the problem. Women want to proclaim that they are independent and don't need men, but then they will hate on men for letting them be independent. I was raised to break my back instead of letting a woman do this. But in today's society, with how much women want to be independent for men and how much they talk about not needing a man, how are you going to blame men that decide not to help? I'm sure a lot of these men that were willing to help in the past were also yelled at or berated by women for helping them. She claims to be independent. I will let her show her independency. Like I said, I would never do this. I would never allow my wife to do this. But this explains why some men just don't care anymore.
Women like her are the ones who created this situation in the first place. How can you be offended by that? You can't have it both ways. I think it's very kind if a man offers to help with something like that. It's your choice to accept or say no thank you. It doesn't matter what men do. If they offer to help, they are being chauvinistic and toxic, and if they don't offer to help, they are being misogynistic. Women seriously need to start wearing signs like, "I'm open to offers of help," and "I can do it on my own." Back off, so men don't have to worry about what version they might get. After berating men, they still want their help. Women want equal rights only when it benefits them. I have seen women upset because men held doors for them. It's ridiculous, but women should be grateful when men offer to help them. I'm sure she chose the bear over the man, and now wants the man to help. I feel for guys because how do you figure out who is a feminist and who would like to be helped? Everyone's a feminist until there's a spider around. I don't know why women feel so entitled to men's help and labor. Women are doing what they have always done. They play a disgusting game and then blame you for their failure. It will always be that way, and that's why men should stop listening to them. It's all just a twisted game to them. She chose to go out and was prepared to do it by herself. If she wanted help, she would have asked. How do you even think she got in the water to begin with? Men are in a no-win situation with women right now. Feminism is killing relationships.
Someone recently asked me if women don't realize that the actions and words that they've taken in the past few years are having unintended consequences, especially with regard to their interactions with men. It's a great question, and the answer to it is yes. Yes, they have absolutely no idea whatsoever that the things they've said and done to men in the past few years have had, are having, and will have for a long time to come dire consequences for women. Now, to be fair, some women are starting to realize it, yet they can't seem to quite make the leap that they, and they alone, are largely the reason for creating these consequences. A case in point is this video a woman put up, which talked about a recent situation that occurred in Korea, where a woman needed CPR. Let's listen.
Some Korean men are refusing to help women. A few days ago, a woman in her 20s lost consciousness and fainted when she was on the subway. Apparently, there were a bunch of men in their 20s and 30s who refused to help, and saying something to the extent of, "It has nothing to do with me."
Well, let's clarify something right off the bat. This isn't unique to Korea. Men across the world are now refusing to step up and help women. And who can blame them? Because they're just doing what women have told them to do. Oh, women will claim they never said that, But when you tell men time and again you don't want them, don't need them, and they damn well better not approach you and ask you out, when women target men and accuse them of heinous intentions for doing something as innocuous as saying, "You look nice today," well, logic dictates that that would also mean don't help out in emergencies. Sorry, ladies, you don't get to pick and choose what men should or shouldn't do, depending on how you view a particular situation, especially because you've shown time and again that that view can change on a dime. And what was okay yesterday, well, today that's harassment or assault.
Which got the women on the internet pissed.
Why? Why would they be pissed? Oh, right. We're supposed to be able to read your minds and know just what is right, what is wrong, and when. Of course, the fact that, as I just said, y'all change your minds on what is right or wrong faster than a speeding bullet, yeah, you don't want to talk about that, do you?
According to the Korean woman, the reason being, all able-bodied Korean men have to serve military service. They do learn CPR in the military. So it was expected for men in their 20s and 30s who likely just got out of the military to jump in and help because they know how to do CPR.
Well, that's all well and good, but it begs the question, why aren't Korean women required to serve in the military and learn CPR too? I mean, it seems like it would be the right thing to do, right? But it goes to show you that women expect men to fight and die to protect them, but do it for themselves or men? Yeah, no. Again, the mindset that women have today is that men know how to do CPR and thus should be compelled to help out a woman. Yet tell them they're required to learn CPR and be obligated to help out a man? Well, say it with me, folks. That's misogyny.
But a lot of the men on the train didn't. And their reason being, they did not want to be accused of sexual harassment.
We have a bingo.
There were a few incidents where men were actually accused for sexual harassment, for trying to help the women. Back in 2014, a South Korean woman had actually tried to sue a male EMT paramedic for doing CPR and doing chest compressions on her.
That's completely true, and I'm aware of cases just like that in Australia, several European countries, and in the United States. So again, it's not limited to Korea. It's a worldwide thing that women do.
Although the paramedic wasn't charged or convicted with anything, since he was reported, he still had to go through an investigation.
Now, women, of course, downplay that. It's no big deal. He was found innocent. Yeah, while I don't know the particulars of the case she's mentioning, in others, their name was splashed all across the news, often in headlines. And the fact that they were found innocent later, well, at best it might get a 1-inch commentary on page 9, and at worst, and the more likely case, not a word will be said in the media that he was found innocent. That is the pattern we've seen time and again in situations like this, not to mention most false allegations. Add to it that once these allegations or lawsuits are filed, in many cases these men rack up huge legal fees as they know they're going to be investigated or sued and have to hire an attorney to guide and protect them as they go through it. So while women can try to downplay and excuse their fellow women's behaviors, men, not so much.
There was also another story shared of a Korean guy going up the steps in the subway station, and there was a woman in front of him seemingly about to fall. He put out his hands and tried to grab her from the back to prevent her from falling. The girl freaked out and called the police on him, and he ended up in the police station.
Something that happens to men across the world every single day. Yet women have the audacity to wonder why men are now refusing to help them out or gasp in horror when they don't. I mean, come on, ladies. Even a blind person should be able to see why. And yet, most of you don't.
That being said, these are all the men's side of the story.
You know, I was with her till she made that comment, and let's face it, it's pretty dismissive. It's not a story, it's a reality. A reality men face each and every day in today's society.
They'd rather be a bystander than getting their names tainted with SA.
Wouldn't you?
This all seems a little crazy to me. I mean, I get it if you don't want to touch the person because you don't know what's going on. At least call for help. What do you think?
Well, I do agree with you there. But as someone who's trained in CPR and who has taught others, the fact of the matter is if they need CPR right then and there, by the time help gets to them, it's likely going to be too late. And the same would go for many other situations that I can think of. The fact of the matter is, ladies, you created this dynamic. And the safe thing, the only thing men can do, is exactly what these men did. Stay out of it, or at most, call for help. Because the risk to a man of losing his reputation, his livelihood, his freedom, hell, even his life, you do know what happens to men who SA women when they go to prison, don't you? For doing the right thing has become so great that it's simply not worth it. It's sad that it's reached this point, but as she said in the video and has been seen in many other situations across the world, that risk is real, very real. Yes, it's not every woman, but as women love to say, we men can never know which woman or what a particular woman will do, especially one who is lying unconscious and can't give permission to a man to give her CPR or undo her shirt and remove her bra so he can apply AED pads. The bottom line is this. This is what you ladies wanted. These are the consequences of your words and actions. This is the result of you weaponizing Me Too and making it too risky for men to not only help you, but even be around you. Even if you didn't say or do these things yourselves, you stood by and let other women do it without saying a word about it. You didn't hold them accountable, and your silence is your complicity. Y'all said you don't need men or want them. Well, ladies, y'all better step up and start taking care of each other, 'cause I hate to break it to you, but men heard you.
In Australia, you can still get in a legal trouble for being a bystander when you are qualified to help. So, you lose if you help and you lose if you don't. The drowning woman that sued her rescuer is the one who is responsible for this situation. If a man tries to help a woman, he only risks getting sued. To be a good Samaritan now is dangerous. In addition to the legal fees, defending a false allegation, he got fired from his job, his kids got bullied, his wife doesn't trust him anymore, and has already filed for divorce, all before a ruling. I wonder why don't they expect other women to help them? It's not that we don't want to help, it's the fact that we don't know what will happen if we do help, because no man wants to be accused of sexual allegations. It's more like men are in fear of losing their freedom through incarceration. Men are even afraid of approaching women these days. Helping a woman at this point is like playing Russian roulette. Nothing can happen when you pull the trigger, or the worst can happen. It depends on the type of person you will encounter. Women want men only when it's totally convenient for them. Women did this to themselves. There is no winning for men because no matter what, it is our fault. They literally told us that they don't need us, then complain when we are not there for them. You can't make this up. When they place themselves on the social chessboard, men can't just go and put themselves at risks when convenient, while getting devalued, belittled, insulted, and accused by women.
So there's a 7-second clip going viral, and I need you to see it. At a first glance, you would say that this wife is walking around pulling 2 suitcases while her husband is on his phone not helping. And if that were the case, bro, why are you letting this woman pull 2 suitcases while you're on your phone? But hang on, who told you that that man was her husband? Forget that. Who even said that these 2 people know each other? Because the more I watch this video, the more it seems like this man is lost, looking for directions on his phone, maybe even contacting an Uber. And this woman seems to be in a hurry pulling her 2 suitcases, and this man is in her way, which is why she passes him. They don't acknowledge each other, they don't talk to each other, they're just doing their own thing. These are probably 2 strangers that have nothing to do with each other, and we're making a video out of it. Like, a lot of you really gave this man a villain arc, and he's just trying to make it to his vacation rental. So many assumptions made out of a 7-second clip. And also, call me crazy, but I feel like we're just a little bit too comfortable at recording strangers and having no regard for context. So yeah, just keep this in mind next time someone tells you to get mad at somebody and the only thing they have to offer is a 7-second clip with no context.
Are they together? Do they know each other? Is she helping him because she wants him to rest? I think everyone should just mind their businesses because those questions don't really matter, even if they were together. How do we know that they haven't been pulling those bags for a long time and she took over to let him rest and maybe look for directions? There's a reason she cut the clip short. They clearly don't know each other as he moves out of her way. I don't think he even knows her. She just happens to be in a hurry to get to the airport terminal. Not even without context. The world is too comfortable recording and posting strangers in general. He looked back to see if he was in her way, which he was, and he tried to make way for her to go ahead. They clearly looked like strangers.
Nothing will make me lose respect for a man faster than to be in the presence of a man and he see me struggling as a woman or see any woman struggling and he won't even take his hands out of his pockets or lift his hands to help a lady. Zero respect for men like that. I was just now in a setting struggling to lift an office chair that was really heavy to get it from one place to the next place, and I had to lift it and carry it a short distance. 2 men stood by in executive positions and watched me struggle to lift
What the hell is an executive position? I don't even know what that means.
that chair and watched me struggle to carry that chair to where it needed to be to return it to less than, it was a very short distance back to its proper place. Zero respect. I have zero respect for men who will watch a woman struggle. If men will stand by and watch you struggle, even in lifting a chair, they will stand back and watch you struggle in other areas of your life. When it comes to women, children, and senior citizens, I have a soft place in my heart for those 3 populations because they are the weakest populations on the face of the earth.
I thought y'all was strong. I thought y'all didn't need men.
To watch a senior citizen, a woman, or a child struggle, and as a man you do nothing, I have zero respect for any man who will watch a woman struggle and do nothing to help her. It says volumes about your character.
Yeah, take care of yourselves, King. I mean, just 2 videos ago, I seen 13 different videos of women that was talking about how they don't even like men, how they don't need men, how they can survive without us, decenter men. It's not even a big deal. They don't have no respect for us. And so as a result, you are getting in return, because men didn't just get like this. I think that y'all are confused about the fact that guys no longer have character. No, they have character, but we protect those that we're responsible for now. We no longer putting ourselves under the guillotine in order to try to captain save them for women that's lost respect for us as a whole, as a general, that has taken advantage of all of the benefits that came along with being built, this country being built for your convenience, and then you benefiting from us, and then you taking us, through all of the systems and all of the issues and all of the problems and all of the family court. Now men have smartened up. They said, all right, you got it. We're going to finally give you what you want, and then you can take care of it, and then all of a sudden you lost your respect for us. Well, guess what? We don't care. And nobody cares about your respect anymore. We respect ourselves.
My muscles, my choice. Those men got their own struggles. They don't need anyone else's. I thought men were scary, and I also thought the bear in the woods was going to help women. Why is it so hard to just ask for help? And I'm sure if she asked those men to help her, they would have. Women want equal rights, but don't want to do equal work. So wait, if you don't benefit, the man receives zero respect? Who cares what you think? You are strong, independent, and can handle it. Struggle builds character, and you got this. Men practically don't care about your struggles, and they don't even owe you anything. We have come to the end of today's video. Tell me what you think in the comment section. See you all next time.